Long before the first human ever walked beneath the sky, before cities, language, and memory, Earth was already ancient. Our planet had lived through terrors so extreme that, if they happened today, human civilization would not survive a single day. The world we now know, blue oceans, green forests, peaceful skies, is the result of a long chain of destruction, rebirth, and unimaginable chaos. Earth did not begin as a paradise. It began as a battlefield of fire. More than 4.5 billion years ago, the newborn Earth was a molten inferno. Massive asteroids slammed into its surface with enough force to vaporize entire oceans. One of these colossal impacts was so powerful that it tore a chunk from Earth itself, forming the Moon. The planet spun violently, its surface a sea of magma, its skies filled with toxic gases. There was no oxygen to breathe, no water to drink, no land to stand on, only fire, ash, and darkness. For millions of years, the planet was unrecognizable. Constant volcanic eruptions reshaped the surface again and again. Lava rivers stretched for thousands of kilometers. The air was filled with carbon dioxide, methane, and sulfuric gases. Lightning storms raged endlessly across crimson skies. If life existed at all during this time, it hid deep beneath the oceans or far underground, clinging to survival in places no sunlight could reach. Then came the first great transformation. As the planet slowly cooled, water vapor condensed and rain began to fall. But this was not gentle rain. It was a storm that lasted for thousands of years. The skies poured endlessly, filling the deep scars in Earth's crust. This is how the first oceans were born. And within these dark, boiling waters, the earliest forms of life may have begun to stir. But survival on early Earth was never guaranteed. Asteroid bombardments continued for hundreds of millions of years. Space rocks the size of mountains crashed into the oceans, triggering global tsunamis and boiling the seas. Each impact threatened to erase life before it had truly begun. Yet, somehow, life persisted. Tiny, invisible, but unstoppable. As ages passed, single-celled organisms learned to harness energy from sunlight. These primitive beings changed the planet forever by releasing oxygen into the atmosphere. At first, oxygen was deadly. It poisoned much of the existing life. This event, known as the Great Oxygenation, caused the first mass extinction in Earth's history. Nearly all life at the time was wiped out. But from that destruction came a new world, one that could support larger, more complex life. Still, Earth's cruelty was far from over. Around 720 million years ago, the planet entered one of its most terrifying phases: Snowball Earth. Global temperatures plummeted so drastically that ice spread from the poles to the equator. The oceans froze nearly solid. The surface of the planet became a frozen wasteland under a dim, sunless sky. For millions of years, life faced near total extinction once again. Most species perished beneath the ice, trapped and starved. Only a few resilient organisms survived near underwater volcanoes where heat still existed. These survivors carried life through the frozen nightmare. And when volcanic activity finally pumped massive amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, the planet began to thaw. The ice melted, the seas returned, and once again Earth gave life another chance. Then came an explosion of life unlike anything before it. Around 540 million years ago, during what scientists call the Cambrian explosion, life evolved at a breathtaking pace. Simple organisms transformed into creatures with eyes, armor, claws, and spine-like structures. The oceans became crowded with strange alien beings, giant predators, armored worms, and creatures that looked like nothing alive today. It was as if Earth had awakened from a long sleep into a violent dream filled with endless competition. But dominance never lasts long on this planet. Around the next hundreds of millions of years, Earth witnessed repeated cycles of extinction. Entire worlds rose and fell. Ancient forests of towering plants covered the land long before trees as we know them existed. Insects grew to monstrous sizes. The atmosphere held far more oxygen than today, allowing creatures to grow into giants. Then, about 252 million years ago, came the greatest catastrophe the planet has ever known: the Permian extinction. Nearly 96% of all marine life and 70% of land species were completely wiped out. Volcanoes in what is now Siberia erupted for hundreds of thousands of years, filling the sky with ash and toxic gases. Oceans turned acidic and lost their oxygen. The land became a burning desert. Life on Earth nearly ended forever. Yet, still, life survived. From the ashes of that near-total annihilation, a new age slowly rose. Strange reptiles began to dominate the land. Over millions of years, they evolved into the mighty dinosaurs. These creatures would rule the Earth for more than 160 million years, longer than humans have existed by an unimaginable margin. But even they were not invincible. For over 160 million years, dinosaurs ruled the Earth. They survived volcanic winters, shifting continents, rising seas, and countless climate changes. Some were gentle giants that shook the ground with every step. Others were ruthless predators with teeth like knives and hunger without limits. Forests echoed with their calls. Oceans swarmed with monstrous reptiles even larger than the ones on land. The skies themselves belonged to flying beasts with wings as wide as small airplanes. It must have seemed as though nothing could ever destroy them. Then, 66 million years ago, in a single day of terror, everything changed. A massive asteroid, over 10 kilometers wide, came screaming out of space and slammed into what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The impact was beyond human imagination. The explosion released more energy than billions of nuclear bombs combined. The ground instantly vaporized. A fireball shot into the sky. Earthquakes rippled across the planet. Tsunamis taller than skyscrapers raced across the oceans, smashing entire coastlines within hours. But the true destruction came after. Molten rock and debris were hurled high into space and then rained back down across the planet. The skies turned into a furnace. Forests on nearly every continent ignited at once. Animals that survived the initial blast burned alive where they stood. The impact also sent vast clouds of dust, ash, and sulfur into the atmosphere, blocking out the sun. For months, then years, darkness ruled the earth. Plants could no longer grow. The food chain collapsed from the bottom up. Herbivores starved first, then the great predators followed. The mighty rulers of the world, Tyrannosaurus, Triceratops, and countless others vanished forever. Nearly 75% of all life on Earth was erased in this single extinction event. Yet, once again, life refused to disappear. Small creatures that lived underground, in water, or fed on seeds and insects managed to survive. Tiny mammals that had lived in the shadows of dinosaurs now found the world strangely empty. With the giants gone, new opportunities emerged. Over millions of years, these small survivors evolved, adapting to every corner of the planet.